Man, we're lucky. When you were looking at the radar forecast last week, we were at one point a direct hit, and somehow we've avoided it altogether. So still things that we've got to look for right now. On the river's an interesting thing because it can be at 4 feet and be fine for whitewater paddlers. It could be at 6 feet, and that could be the most dangerous time. And then at 8 feet, it's safe again for whitewater paddlers. It's a weird thing because there's a lot of different features in the river that act differently at different water levels. And so I've been talking to people about it all morning. There's a group of whitewater paddlers that we can name by name, that's how few of them there are, that are qualified to get out there and enjoy the water at these water levels, and it is a ton of fun to be on the water when we've got water in it in September. But for most people, I would say avoid it. And as we kind of look ahead, it looks like we're still going to get some of those remnants from Florence on Monday and Tuesday. Some serious rain up north, which is what's going to fill up that river. So those are things that we're going to have to watch for. And I would just say it's hazy. Visibility is not great. We don't know what's coming from the north. We aren't quite sure what's going to happen with the remnants of Florence because it's moving so slow and it's acting. We just can't predict it. We've seen how much it's changed. Just avoid the river for the next week or so and let's watch and see what it does.
That's interesting that it's not always, you can't always look at what the level is and say, okay, it's yellow, I can go.
No, it's so interesting. You know, if you talk to whitewater paddlers, because they know this river maybe more so than anyone else, they'll talk to you about how they know exact water levels that are safe for them to be on it. And because it's so rocky and because there's so many strainers along the banks, depending on what that water level's doing, each of those things react differently. And there are certain levels, you would think that it would be the really high levels, but there's certain levels there in the middle that actually create more danger for whitewater paddlers than even some of those higher, more extreme levels. So you just have to be super, super careful. You got to understand not only what USGS is telling you in terms of water levels and flow, but what does it mean when you actually put those numbers into effect and reality getting on the actual river. And so the experts can tell you, avoid it. If you are not one of those experienced whitewater paddlers, just don't get on it.
It's interesting. In all forms of recreation, you've always said that the Rappahannock is really unique, and we see it again now with this storm.
It's an amazing wild river, and it lives up to that name, and it's what makes being on this river so amazing, but it's also what makes it so scary and unpredictable. We just don't know what's going to happen. And even now, we have some more dangers in place than maybe we would have under normal circumstances because of all the flooding events earlier in the year. Anybody can go down the Rappahannock and see it's a totally different river. I mean, where there's log jams and strainers along the coast along the side of the river, if more water comes down, it's going to start pushing those logs down, moving them in different directions, different strainers, different features on the river. It's unpredictable in this season especially. So do yourself a favor and just avoid it until we're back down to normal water levels.
And we even talked about the silt and that whole situation, because I'm sure what we've seen this year has really affected that too.
Well, even the fire department talked about it. We are saturated. The ground has been saturated all summer. So rain events that normally wouldn't affect the Rappahannock is affecting it in a really big way because the water table's full. There's no place for that water to go. And so it's hard to predict, and we can't necessarily say that things that happened last year or even a week ago that the effects are going to be the same today.
So just enjoy it from the riverbank.
Enjoy it from the riverbank, yeah. It's beautiful right now. It's always beautiful when there's water in it. It's rare in September for us to have water in the river, so that's an amazing thing. The leaves are going to start to change. Walking down the Heritage Trail, seeing the river in fall is one of my most favorite times. And this year is unique because we're going to see as much water as we do rocks, which is rare for September.